One team in 4th place, the other fighting to break away from a 3-way 8th place tie. That's going to be our matchup of eLevate versus Simple Tinkers, 2 teams that have been with us for a very long time. eLevate, formerly called Bernal Empires, joined us in Season 2. Simple Tinkers has been with us since Season 1.
Well before that, they've been a long-standing member of the community. Bernal Empires as well before the WGL, always been around.
Yep.
And they've made a lot of changes, though.
Let us know what you think about these matches tonight and what you think about the WGLNA in general. We love to hear the comments and the questions as well about World of Tanks Esports. Our Twitter is at WGLNA, Facebook.com/WGLNA, or you can use that. Well, also make sure to use that hashtag WGLNA. You can find our VODs as well on our Twitch page and YouTube.com/WGLNA.
Yep, and question of the day, guys. Why it's so important to hashtag WGLNA. What tank best embodies your favorite team and why? And I've been holding on this one, the T-52. That is Simple Tankers.
The T-52?
The T-52.
I was thinking the WZ-132 is Simple Tankers.
No. T-52. Old Glory.
That's a personal favorite of yours.
It is.
What
It's
about
a
for
beautiful tank, I
eLevate?
miss her.
For eLevate, I think the RU-251, even
No.
though it's a new tank.
IS-3.
For eLevate?
Forward, best direction.
Okay, but I'm thinking of the swiftness and how quickly they'll get into the fight.
IS-3.
Before the 2 minutes
IS-3.
on open battlefields.
IS-3.
Which will be the first open battlefield in Pro World Cup. The face-off is ready between our 2 team captains. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
eLevate, let's start with you. 4th place. Can I get a hell yes?
Hell yes, you can.
That's a good place for you guys to be in. But we saw a similar pattern happen in the last season where you had a shot to make it all the way to 2nd place. But unfortunately, I think you guys were facing Fnatic that time and then had a falling away. But that was when they were Bernal Empires. It's a different name, a different story this season. You had a 5-1 victory over Penguin Mafia, but you have to hold tonight against Simple Tinkers. Is the pressure on even harder for you guys tonight?
I think we perform well under pressure. I've been saying every week we've been doing these face-offs that our synergy is really starting to come together, and I think our results are finally starting to show that. So the pressure is good. We enjoy it. We're playing to go to land now, and I think we're only going to continue to succeed.
Great to hear. Let's go ahead and check in with your opponents from Simple Tinkers. We have Jay Smooth ready to get into that danger zone tonight. How's it going?
It's going good. Was that the guy from the Micro Machines commercials?
Which guy?
Or is that reaching way too far back for most of you guys?
Oh my gosh! I'm sorry, man, but I might have to jump on YouTube and watch some of those because I was a wee young lad back in those days.
I might be aging myself with that comment,
but I do remember some of those ads. You guys had a 5-0 victory over Victoria's Secret last time. You're currently tied with, well, no longer with iLevel after their victory and Simply Irresistible. Overall, as we're getting closer and closer to the end of the season, Jay Smooth, what does Simple Tinkers have to do in order to make it through the playoffs?
Well, the key to this league is you got to win. So that's kind of the obvious answer. And we actually have an extra opportunity to do that because we got to play roulette tomorrow. So we actually are a game behind. So yeah, we're sitting in that tied position, but we still got a game in our pocket. So that helps us a little bit. But now you got to win, keep playing here.
Well, you definitely have a great matchup in store against eLevate. Do you have any words for your opponents tonight?
Good luck, have fun.
We're going to see who elevates their game tonight, huh?
All right. We heard Zoid say good luck and have fun. So, gentlemen, thank you for that. Good luck and have fun indeed. We'll see you on the battlefield. Straight to the danger zone every time.
Oh, yeah.
You can see a little bit of relaxed states coming from both team representatives, which I feel is a good thing. Sometimes you can't really be all like super aggressive. Oh, we're going to take them down, which is fun to see for us as an audience.
Of course.
But you have to instill a certain attitude at the very beginning. And Noble is one of those teams that's talked about that as well.
Yeah, they've talked about how the mood on comms has affected their ability to perform at the highest level. This is probably common on every single team. If after a while you get to understand what it sounds like on comms in the TeamSpeak when you're communicating, what the team sounds like, what the mood is, when you win, and then you recognize that it sounds different and you just had a horrible loss, everything went wrong.
Kind of an addictive sensibility coming from some of the team reps.
I know I've shown up nights to clan wars or to tournaments and everyone sounded a little bit off.
Yeah.
No one sounded as motivated. No one sounded quite as sure of themselves. And it was before everything, and that sometimes throws things off. So it does all start even before the match with planning the team and the motivation that they have.
You'll see the team rosters from both eLevate and Simple Tankers. Always love seeing Zach Coombs' performance almost every single night. But looking forward to how Tofu, Smurf, and Executus are going to play. Azrael, 90, Servios, and Zagarman. Let's take a look at how their stats are going to line up as well for eLevate. The final match of the night, the first battle will take place on Prohorovka between eLevate and Simple Tankers. Randall, what do we have for tanks?
All right, we've got a T-32 played by Servios from eLevate. We've got a single 1392 RU-251s, a single T-54, and the 2 M41s to finish it out with Urtai and Zagarman. So a very diverse lineup from eLevate, which tells me it's going to be left side or right side, east or west. Other side, Simple Tankers, all light tanks. Little bit of a mix here of 1390s RUs and M41s, which, please tell me they're going with the old school Simple Tankers up and over.
This might be that case, Randall, as the blue team Simple Tankers moves to the center of the map, the red team eLevate, the attackers at the beginning of this series.
Got 2 loops out by fake scouts, Pub Whisperer and Angry White Guy, as everyone else comes up just a little on the low ground, trying to bait in some kind of aggression from eLevate. But eLevate does not bite. GeForce are playing a safe scout run after noticing those and just covering Servios until he can get into position. Once they get the T-32 into position, they can slow down this fight and begin exerting some kind of control over the west side of the map. Get the control of the bowl, spot down the 1-2 line, and gain some kind of a presence at least out to the train tracks. After that, we can see if eLevate can force Simple Tankers out of the northwest and then take control of the west, start pressuring the cap.
And that pressure will have to be methodical and effective against Simple Tankers because their mobility is something not to be denied.
Exactly, but they have to use that to their advantage. If they get too static in their positions, then we'll see them be taken apart by eLevate, who has a slightly heavier lineup. However, if Servios takes damage like he just did, and it continues to stack up, Simple Tankers could weaken him enough to make their own push.
G-Forcer hit for 218. Before that, Servios was hit as well. Angry White Guy still on the momentous scouting run to be able to spot some of those tanks from this long-range fire.
Well, and Zagarman is going in all the way up the 1 line, and he does not have the cover he needs. He is spotted. Fire should be coming in shortly. He's connected for 183 and moves just in time for 2 shells to go right over him, but he's not going to be able to dodge all of these.
Yeah, and another hit. Zagarman's in trouble. 2 more shots do not connect as Zagarman continues to retreat.
Oh, he is moving just at the right time.
Oh, just at the right time to get shot and killed, though. Zagarman goes down.
And there he goes. That's the first loss here. Urtai, on the other side of the map, is trying to find his way to a weak spot, but just like with Zagarman, I think he's going to get cut off and taken down.
Servios hit for 233 from Executus from a distance. Urtai is connected, and eLevate's now going to push in slightly with Serenity now full force along with G-Forcer moving up against Angry White Guy to stop that scout from getting all this information in the center of the battlefield, and G-Forcer's getting punished because of it. He stopped in the middle trying to line up a shot against Angry White Guy, and Angry White Guy got behind the rock, and here comes the rest of Simple Tankers in a cross pattern moving in against the weakened eLevate.
Yeah, and there goes Serenity. G-Force are the first 2 in, and now Zone Delta will be focused down without any proper support. T-32 on the high ground is trying to be the supporting tank, where all the softer tanks were the ones who blitzed in.
Urtai getting annihilated from Executus. 1 more shot and he'll fall, and he goes down. Tofu Smurf very low, trying to get out of the fight, can't do it in time. Static takes him down. 2 tanks remain, and Simple Tankers are looking to push up against the remaining bastion of hope for eLevate here in battle number 1. As Wallhacks get hit for 235, and J Smooth's going to turn the corner.
Servius
1 shot,
is
2
on
shots,
fire.
3 shots from J Smooth for the kill, and Static's on the run.
Yep, he's left alone, reloading, taking hits as he is found. Simple Tankers had the setup appropriate for eLevate's push. They went right through the middle. Every tank was able to join the fight quickly. No reason eLevate should have been able to win that fight. It was lost before it even started.
Oh, Executus says, "Can you feel me?" as he jumps off. And Wallhacks goes for the ram damage as well, and Simple Tankers celebrates a bit of that victory as they Goomba each other a little bit.
Oh, that was cute.
Great play coming from Simple Tankers on the defensive side. I really loved how they set up that cross split.
It was a normal kind of a position where there's not too much to it. You're covering the west side of the map. You're gaining some control over the east side, or at least you're able to spot some of the east side. And when eLevate tries to do a strat like this, which seems so uncoordinated, I think, there's different elements of it that if all happen simultaneously or at the right times would be effective to a point, and it would then depend upon a lot of player execution. But so many tanks went in one at a time that it was destined to fail. Urtai on one flank, you had Zagarman trying to go up another one, and there's no support for those scouts. They're playing the role of a scout and a flanker, but there needs to be someone who can help them. You're sending them on a solo mission into enemy territory with not nearly enough to deal with what is there. It's a confusing call for me.
It definitely can be, and with those confusing calls maybe happening in comms, you dust off the cobwebs that have happened for 2 days.
I mean,
those are some quick moving spiders, I guess. But
I mean, sometimes banana spiders, they make big webs. You walk into one of those, it freaks you out a little bit.
well, that's a great image for our audience now to think about those giant spiders.
They're scary, man.
They are very scary. The mentality, though, the first battle, these teams test the waters a little bit on Prohorovka. eLevate and Simple Tinkers know how each other fight in a sense. They weren't part of the same divisions in the past. I don't know about every single season.
They've fought a few times
yeah,
here
for
and there.
sure.
They've
For sure.
I'm confident that old Bertel Empires practiced a little bit with Simple Tankers. I don't know if current eLevate's practicing much with Simple Tankers, but both of these teams have enough experience to the point where I expect aggression and also for them to understand their opponent's mentalities, which could come into play the more we get into this.
Battle number 2, eLevate and Simple Tankers, is about to begin on Prohorovka once again. Simple Tankers will be on the defense. Randall, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks? This will be fun. T-32, Charioteer, 1390, 2 RU-251s, Urtai in a GW Panther. Let's see if he can compete for Crimson's position as
Crimson
King.
Corsair is the leader of artillery. I think Zoid in the M44 is right behind him.
But we don't have that tonight. We've got Zagarman with a Bulldog to finish it out as the scout. And on the other side, Simple Tankers with 2 T-32s, 4 RU-251s, and a T-37. This strat is something they've run before. It involves a hit squad of RU-251s, which will anchor around those T-32s. And you'll just see them occasionally smacking into their opponents and finding a tank and wiping it out.
Nice hit against Servios from a distance.
Oh,
here.
Urtai!
Urtai is lit up.
As he crosses to the east, he has to try to get some cover, but Simple Tankers is taking the risk to take this crucial tank out of the battle.
Oh, Executus took the brunt of that risk as he gets, not destroyed, but severely hindered in HP here as he's going to hug the cover of the railroad tracks. I liked how Simple Tankers was getting to the forefront to try to punish the movement of eLevate, but they didn't get a kill here.
Urtai is looking towards the mid right now, and he shot out. That is a hit on Zakum for about 300 damage.
Ooh, nice shot from Urtai then.
Yep, and now at the same time he needs to shift position because Tofu, Craft Lawrence, and Wallhacks are moving to the south, and that is a strong side south that I don't think Zone Delta can hold off on his own. In the meantime, eLevate does have the opportunity to make some kind of action in the middle of the map, but right now, the fact that they brought in Artie means that they are down that tank, which I think it is not looking at a very strong position here.
Couple shots hitting towards Zagarman. One does connect, and Zone Delta hit for 269. Nice heads-up play from Tofu Smurf. Looking for that beautiful angle, just barely getting it as Zone Delta was scouting out, looking for another shot here.
And now we've got a little bit of shifting away from the middle of the map. Static taking up a protective position above the artillery piece, Urtai, to kind of keep that tank safe. Servios, in the meantime, is going to hold the middle, and that'll allow Urtai to maybe get some work done, find a target, get a few more connections, deal some little bit more damage before they try and make a fight happen. Because right now, look at the hit points. eLevate 4,961 against Simple Tankers 6,763 hit points. So eLevate's at a severe disadvantage right now. They cannot hope to trade efficiently against Simple Tankers who are just healthier with bigger tanks and more mobility. But Urtai does represent a force multiplier.
Looking at the center section of the map, Angry White Guy and Zakum holding what has become the T-32 spot to hold for the defenders. Pub Whisperer dancing back and forth to the north. Beautiful shot coming from Zakum, punishing G-Forcer even more. G-Forcer poking out, looking for any targets as the attackers.
That's what Simple Tankers seems to be doing here. They're doing a very good job at making sure to punish their opponent for any kind of aggression, while trying to stay as safe as they can from artillery. Urtai has just fired, and I don't think that was any kind of a connection. Angry White Guy was hit for a very small amount of damage.
No, Pub Whisperer takes down G-Forcer to the north. That's going to give complete map control to Simple Tankers. Angry White Guy is hit with damaged tracks.
Yeah, it's not much. Now Zigarman and Zone Delta are going to go down, meaning Urtai is exposed, and that'll allow Tofu and Craft Lawrence to begin that push. Servios in the middle. It's going to try and take on two T-32s. Doubt he's going to be able to make that work, but Serenity is there.
Serenity is there, and Angry White Guy and Zakum focus on Serenity first, softening him up as Wallhack's moving in, but he takes a big shot for 250. He's not loaded yet, I don't think, and I think Urtai is able to hit Angry White Guy again. Servios continuing to fire back and forth between the T-32. Serenity 17 cleans up the village, but he is going to be targeted by Angry White Guy, who doesn't land the shot, and Serenity 17 is able to take down Angry White Guy, but Servios will pay the heavy toll here as Zakum will bounce back behind cover, allowing Pub Whisperer and Executus to move in and take down Serenity 17 and put another point on the board with a lead of 2-0 over eLevate.
Now, eLevate, I don't think is making a very strong showing on the attack here. They're going for that arty, but they're up against an opponent who understands their style, that being aggressive and setting the tempo and being in control in that respect. Simple Tankers and eLevate are both playing in that vein.
They're very comfortable in that type of
exactly. And so when they're playing against it and they know that they are defenders, I feel like, unlike many of their other opponents who might get thrown off by their first few battles, eLevate can try to attack, but Simple Tankers knows how to meet that. And when it flips, I'm predicting that eLevate may be able to do much of the same, and that they'll be able to just stop Simple Tankers and their aggression.
And this becomes this point of who can break through the defense, right? Simple Tankers versus eLevate in this sense. I loved seeing the GW Panther being used, and they were landing some shots, but I did not like G-Forcer all the way to the north. I did not like the spread of tanks from eLevate. I understand the principle of scouting, yes, and trying to find where these entrenched tanks are and punish them from an arty's perspective. But when you take significant amount of damage and then the enemy knows that you're on your own to the north, it starts to fall apart, starts to crumble.
I agree completely. I think that was a little bit of a overreaching, because Urtai was under a lot of pressure. Your opponents are 100 meters away on the other side of some train tracks. If they peek up and over, they could spot you and kill you. Early on, you had to go across those same train tracks, and there was fire into your position. Simple Tankers made the proper call in understanding that they were going to go east, not west. So I think Simple Tankers just had this figured out, and the pressure was so much that they couldn't get Urtai the shots he needed, the angles he needed.
Yeah.
Because Simple Tankers understood how to deal with that.
You're balancing two things, right? Eyes and ears on where the enemy is, and then staying alive at the same time when you have already involved.
And giving him enough distance to stretch out and touch something.
None of this is easy. None of this is easy. If it was easy, there wouldn't be a $171,000 prize pool at the end of the regular season. Moving into battle number 3, eLevate versus Simple Tankers. Simple Tankers has a lead 2-0. What do we have for tanks, Randall?
For tanks, 2 T-32s, Charioteer again, 1390, RU-251, GW Panther, and M41 Walker Bulldog. That's eLevate, who are now the defenders, bringing a very similar lineup to what they brought last time. Simple Tankers is bringing a lineup which I'm going to call that they're going to blitz the middle again. 2 T-69s, 2 1390s, RU-251, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. This is similar to a strategy they brought in the old format where they would simply run up the middle and the T-69s would cover while the light tanks just messed with everything. And if that's the strategy here, I'm worried because of a tank destroyer being present, and also the fact that eLevate has very quickly gotten into their appropriate positions.
Angry White Guy just got lit up. Over 200 damage on that hit, but no full-on up and over commitment coming from Simple Tankers here yet.
Oh, and now Simple Tankers unable to get any kind of early lead. The fact that Urtai had a strong spawn and is now in a safe position, I think that's going to be very difficult for Simple Tankers to deal with because of the control over the 1-2 line. Urtai is going to just find a target, and he is predicting also the approach of Simple Tankers. He's looking to the south. That's where Simple Tankers are. Could have gone to the west, could have hit up and over the train tracks to control the east, and now with J Smooth spotted, he leads
spotted, but moving forward, dodging 2 shots, and on the move, hits Zone Delta. Zone Delta's going to get lit up for 477. He has to fall back. J Smooth is not stopping. He's continuing to push forward. He sees Z Garment. Z Garment's getting lit up. J Smooth finally gets hit, but this is a cavalry assault on the western side, and J Smooth is not stopping. He's going into that danger zone.
Can't stop, won't stop. He will get Zone Delta, and I love this. This is a variation upon the same mentality that Simple Tankers employed when they would just simply go up and over. This time, they're taking it down the 1 line, and the support is from the T-69s in the middle. I like it. I like it a lot. It is working somewhat, and they're getting incredible results.
They are, but Wallhax is very low. He's trying to weave in and out between these tanks, and the 2 supporting tanks in that section are able to destroy what's left in the north, and Serenity is 1 shot away from falling. Can Angry White Guy get it, or will it be Pub Whisper?
It's Tofu.
Negative, it's Tofu Smurf from further away. And that's going to be 3 tanks against 5 in favor of Simple Tankers. Beautiful textbook assault play coming from a team that kind of wrote the book on how to do up and overs.
Yeah, they really did an excellent job with this one. I like it. Now, it's risky. There's a chance that J Smooth is met immediately and destroyed in seconds on that push, kind of stalling it, especially if Simple Tankers fail to
Angry
continue
White
forward.
Guy with a long-range shot hits Servios, but he gets connected from G-Forcer in the same position as the last battle as well.
Yeah, now Servios is going to try and escape, but he doesn't really have hard cover to run to. And he's going to get hit from all sides. Akum, Tofu, even Pub Whisperer and Angry White Guy, everyone gets a piece.
Nice shot by Pub Whisperer to clean that up, and 1 tank remains. That's G-Forcer, who's taken no damage so far. He lands a nice connection against Pub Whisperer, and against Tofu Smurf as well. He's holding the line the best that he can. 550 in that volley shot. Pub Whisperer continues to close the distance against the last remaining tank for eLevate. Simple Tankers looking very strong here as they're going to take another victory with 3 battle victories and 2 to go for
But G-Forcer's gonna make a show.
He's still holding, yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna make a show for himself at the end. He's gonna fight on.
And well played by G-Forcer. He stood his ground, but he knew they were coming for him. So it's the best you can do in that scenario.
So, Simple Tanker strategy to review. It would look like it was an opening to appear as though they were kind of just playing around with the middle. Didn't seem like much. eLevate doesn't get a whole lot of information from it, but then they switch it up. T-69 stay in the middle, while the rest of the light tanks, or at least most of them, head down the 1-2 line. J Smooth says, I'll lead the way. And with some nice connections on the move, and on top of that, the T-69s making their shots count, it ended up working out. And I think the shells connecting with the tanks on that 1-2 line flustered them.
Look how divided eLevate is on that mini-map, if you could see it real briefly. They're spread out to have map control, obviously, and also to guard Urtai, to allow maybe him to soften it up. And it was that decision to bring the Arty that could have affected J Smooth's straight-on cavalry charge to move towards that danger in the safest way possible, which was next to those trees.
It's such a risky thing to try and push in on the Arty, because here's what happens. Arty, it's risky in that it doesn't have a lot of health and it doesn't reload very quickly, but when it hits, it does deal quite a bit of damage. But it needs time in order to overcome the fact that it can be unreliable at times.
And that's something Simple Tankers would not give to eLevate as time.
No, and that was exactly what they're going for. They realized that very simple fact, employed a strategy which is simple, as it's their name.
Yeah.
It works out. So
that has to be the 4th pillar then of World of Tanks. You have armor, firepower, mobility, and now time. At least for 7x54.
I think we could say it's an element of this game mode.
Sure.
That's a huge part. Your time management was something we've noticed, I think, from the beginning, even though it wasn't kind of harped as one of the main points of the format.
Yeah, because in combat, it's not like, well, we're going to win in 2 minutes, you know?
It's like we've only got 2 minutes to get this done. But it is 7 minutes before you have failed to take it in time. And guess you could throw in like a theoretical situation, reinforcements have arrived, or aircraft have arrived.
Sure.
And we all know what aircraft do to tanks, which is
P-51, Cadillac of the Sky, the
Mhm.
Tank Buster.
It'll
For
it'll
those
mess
of you
things
that
up.
love to play World of Warplanes as well. Well, Simple Tankers looks great, but you can't count eLevate out because they have come back a number of times in scenarios and have brought it to tiebreakers or even victories.
Maybe.
Simple Tankers now moving into battle number 4 against eLevate here as they're up 3-0. What do we have for tanks, Randall?
Looks like we've got a different lineup from eLevate. They switched it up finally. 2 T-32s, 1390, RU-251, T-54 lightweight, and then the M41s.
And eLevate did call a timeout during that period as well, so I'm sure they had a discussion on what to change.
Yeah, that's what you need. A little bit of a breather before things get out of control. If they waited until the map switch, might have been too late to get yourselves back into gear. On the other side, the 3 1390, 2 RU, and 2 M41 lineup from Simple Tankers tells us that they're going to go for another high mobility aggressive strategy. But this opening from eLevate, that's a strong east side with the T-32s to play bait.
Yeah.
If eLevate fails to come in on the flank, though, their T-32s will go down without any kind of repercussions. But the fact that they're going wide like this tells us that they're expecting this strategy and are going to take the gamble that they're going to make that push. It's just a lot of risk, and it needs decisive action.
Simple Tankers now moving towards the west. Heading up the same line. They are, in a sense, countering what eLevate is doing to get more map control.
eLevate waited. I think they may have needed to take a more direct route, and they would have gotten better results, but they would have risked being spotted before getting there. So, pros and cons here. A little bit of damage going back and forth. G-Forcer is taking fire as he's out in the open. He's going to try and get into that defilade, into some cover, but until then, he will lose about 500 hit points for it.
Moving further south. Simple Tankers took a little bit of damage. Jay Smooth took the brunt of it, but he loves to lead to from the front.
And now we're going to see eLevate close in. They can't afford to give Simple Tankers time to regroup and think about whatever answer they need to enact on the situation. If that's the right call. I think that's it. North is the right call. Pick a direction, go, you're surrounded. You're going to take hits for it, yes, but they need to get out of this and find a smaller, more separated group.
And do they focus on Urtai, or do they continue to move north under that cover? Looks like Wallhax wants Urtai. Wallhax is taking the brunt force of damage here, and Urtai will be able to escape. And there goes Wallhax.
Yeah.
Now Simple Tankers has to switch targets, and Tofu Smurf is out in the open, exposed, and there's not a lot of cover fire to allow him to escape. There goes Jay Smooth.
Yeah, this is just a rough situation. Simple Tankers has been corralled into a bad position by eLevate. That flank from the east, Simple Tankers tries to react, but then realizes a bit too late that they needed to get out of that position altogether and control something so much more powerful than the 1-2 line.
And Serenity is starting to push up right through those lines of Simple Tankers, and eLevate is turning this battle around, this series around, as only 2 tanks remain for Simple Tankers as Zagarman is on the chase of Unknown One, Angry White Guy, trying to get away from the battle as fast as he can, but it's going to be too little too late for Simple Tankers to salvage this one.
Unknown One, can he get one more shell out? No, not going to happen. Angry White Guy will be the last one, and I got to give it to eLevate. That was a strong opener, strong strategy, and they made the right call. They predicted Simple Tankers' play, and it worked out for him.
Angry White Guy goes into the water, and Serenity 17 can't get the Goomba, fires once he lands, waits for the reload, pushing.
Wait for it.
And Serenity. Zagarman was lining it up, though. eLevate puts a point on the board against Simple Tankers. You hit the nail on the head, Randall. Really solid setup in that center section to punish what Simple Tankers was doing.
Yeah, eLevate, I mean, I think that Simple Tankers, though, became a little bit predictable. If you think about it from eLevate's perspective, they recognize that Simple Tankers has been aggressive. They've liked to go west as opposed to east. And so we can probably predict that they will not be going east this time. They like to go mid. Their lineups are light. They do not involve a lot of heavy tanks. They're meant for mobility. So let's take control of the center and just push them into a corner. Once you do that, they're easier to control, and they don't have the firepower to make that kind of a stand. They have to stay in motion. because they're T-32s.
Yeah.
Too much armor.
Well, I would notice that Tofu Smurf kind of still had that motion going to at least try to engage the tanks, but there's 3 tanks in that definitely using hold down positioning, even though they're not really hold down tanks, but using that position to force those bounces more. So Tofu Smurf's going to be the next target. And you could see the writing on the wall in a sense of eLevate goes, well, thank you, Tofu Smurf, for kind of volunteering to be our next target and getting taken down. It's not. I'm not trying to belittle Tofu Smurf, because with that momentum as a team, you start really taking a lot of damage. And you go, well, do we stop attacking? Do we stop being a threat and just try to move north, or do we stand here and fight?
I mean, both options would have probably ended poorly. It's very difficult to work with that. You had to. I mean, you could have maybe tried a trick, but in that situation, everything's moving too fast. I think Simple Tankers needed a simple decision to make, which is north, south, east, west. Pick something to do. They made a decision, and that'll often work out better than sitting still and letting your opponent get that high ground and that control and then just cut you apart. It worked out better for them than I think the situation they had already been put into.
Well, that does it for that first map, Prohorovka, but now we're going to go over to Steppes. But I think it's fitting that both these maps are going to be open maps for both these teams.
Yeah.
Simple Tankers chose Prohorovka, eLevate chose Steppes. eLevate will be on the attack on Steppes, which is dangerous because Simple Tankers only needs 2 battle victories to take the series, and they're going to be on the defense.
Yeah, you're right about that. I think that they have a chance, though, if they can make the arty work like they have in the past. That's what we're going to depend on.
Battle number 5 between eLevate and Simple Tankers on Steppes is almost ready as Simple Tankers leads 3-1. Randall, what do we have for tanks?
For tanks, I'm looking at 2 T-32s, 1390, 2 RU-251s. Urtai is going to bring that GW Panther back, and then we're going to have Zigarman in the M41. On the other side, Simple Tankers is going to go with a heavy Tier 8 lineup, where they're going to have 6 Tier 8s and finish that out with Kraft Lawrence in a T-37, as opposed to eLevate's option for 5 Tier 8s and 2 Tier 7s, which allows them to bring an Arty and an M41 Walker Bulldog, a tank that I believe is a strong choice on this map. And what will they do? Will it be the Simp strat?
It could be a very
Come on, Josh,
different.
humor me.
I know.
Humor me. Make a prediction.
I'm looking at what Zigarman's doing, actually. He's not even going north. He's just circling around the rocks. So I'm going, could be a very different type of engagement compared to what I had anticipated here.
It was just a little scout run.
Yeah.
Not maybe the most well-planned scout run, in that is his return route. The route he's taking to leave is not very safe. But
I love that last tweet that popped up, though. They agreed with you with the IS-3. He said, I don't even have a control for moving backwards on my keyboard.
exactly. Why would you need what key is it again that people usually bind to backwards?
S.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So I've got 4 W keys on my keyboard, and they are W, 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 and W.
Got it.
So when people say WASD, it really confuses me, because I think, woo.
Give you a quick update of what's happening in the non-broadcasted match right now. Full Potato is up 3-0 against Fun Gaming.
What was that score again?
Full Potato is up 3-0 against Fun Gaming.
Really?
Really. Full Potato, if you didn't
Josh,
catch it last time.
You got to be Josh and me.
Well, unless I heard it wrong from our production crew.
That's
But I love Full Potato's press conference that they had last week. In case you missed it, I believe it's up on our YouTube, youtube.com/WGLNA. And base pressure is on the Eastern Valley section.
and more pressure on Zigarman. Run, Zigarman! This little M41's trying to get away, but he's tracked in the open. There's fire coming back towards Tofu, an unknown one, but he's got no cover. He's got nowhere to go.
He's got no cover. He doesn't have that much health left, and he is gone.
Executives, that's a 500-meter shot.
18 seconds left on that flag cap. Simple Tankers has to move quickly. Wallhacks is slowing down a little bit, but he's getting close. Wallhacks, focus on the flag cap, Wallhacks.
Zakum is also moving in.
And they see Static. He'll be one target. His own Delta's next for the first opening. Kraft Lawrence trying to get behind. Wallhacks setting up a bastion against
Shot out
these
from Arty.
tanks. And it hits Wallhacks. Big shot against Wallhacks here. He fires back towards try to help Zakum against Static, and there goes Wallhacks. That already really helped in that scenario. Zakum cleans up Static, and Kraft Lawrence is going to have to move in to help Zakum.
And now there's a fight right in front of Urtai during his reload. Sereni and G-Force are trying to protect him, but not quite able to keep him safe for very long. Executives now finds Urtai, one connection. He might have time to reload. No, he will not. He goes down.
Zakum trying to hold against these two tanks, but they're going to get behind. He fires into Servios for one shot, and Zone Delta destroys Zakum. Kraft Lawrence tried to help, but now the little tank that could does 120 damage, and he's on the run from the two devastating tanks. Zone Delta lands a shot for 344. Servios hits for 617 in that volley, and Kraft Lawrence is on the run, hoping Simple Tankers will move in quickly to take down what's left of Zone Delta and Servios, and there goes the little Kraft Lawrence.
He believed so hard.
He did, but he was able to keep these tanks distracted and occupied, allowing for Simple Tankers to move in. And Executus destroys Servios. One tank remains for eLevate here. Tofu Smurf lining up maybe a shot from further down south. Zone Delta sees it, pulls back a little bit. Tofu Smurf on the approach, trying to get the flank on the side as Executus lands another shot. And Zone Delta hits for 329. Tofu Smurf lines up, actually bounces off Zone Delta. And Executus from behind reloads, fires, and gets the kill. Simple Tankers up 4-1 against eLevate.
One more, it's all they need. And I think... What do you think, actually? Because I really don't have a strong assessment of this one. I want to know what you think about this battle.
The flag cap pressure with the two T-32s obviously pulled the trigger, right? But from there, it seemed that eLevate got too occupied or too... what's the word? They were overcome?
Overtaken?
Overtaken. There's the word. Please, English, return to me.
There's a lot of words that mean
occupied to the south.
Occupied?
And after they were occupied, it was an overmatch, and then they moved back to the center.
Okay.
So the T-32s did their job, but the south didn't do their job.
Okay. It's okay.
That's
Believe
my
in
assessment.
them. They'll have another chance.
I don't know why I couldn't think of... The past tense of overcome is overcame, but that's a past participle.
Look, there's one thing I've learned about English.
Yeah.
It's that it's all sorts of crazy, and that
A little
any
bit.
rule can be
bit.
broken in the right situation.
Well,
and probably there's more reasons to break the rule than there are to follow the rule.
As Aquavolt loved to make fun of me a bit as I mentioned the different languages I've tried to learn in the past.
Oh yeah,
Do you know learning Chinese? Konnichiwa.
Oh god, that was so beautiful. I was there when he came up with that, and the delivery is so beautiful. It's better live.
Yeah, shout out to Aquavolt. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Moving into battle number 6 between Simple Tankers and eLevate on steps. Simple Tankers one battle away from closing the series. eLevate, with only one victory, has quite the hill to climb. What do we have for tanks, Randall?
For tanks, 2 T-32s, 1390, 2 RU-251s, Urtai again in the GW Panther, and Z Garmin in an M41. On the other side, Simple Tankers is going to bring that T-32 Pershing combo, that hit squad, Executus Tofu, and Unknown one in RUs, Kraft in that T-37, and then Pub Whisperer is going to roam around in his 1390. So I don't think they're going to ride out to try and counter this because they will leave their T-32 behind, but I think Urtai is the difference here. He's an important Tier 7 tank who, if he can get the hits, and if they can stall
so crucial to get the hits.
If they can stall Simple Tankers out, if they can slow them down and keep them in one spot, just let Urtai get 2 good shells out, that should be enough.
3 spots against Unknown one. Executus and Tofu Smurf, but they see G-Forcer and Static, and they know they're on their own. Urtai, however, could set up for a beautiful shot. Simple Tankers could be very cognizant of that and maintain their mobility. Unknown one's the first to fall, though.
It's a dangerous shot, especially with how close this brawl could get. Urtai is aiming at Tofu Smurf, but he's on a down slope, and as he comes up and over...
And look at this, Static and G-Forcer have Executus pinned.
Out.
Oh, only 62 damage, though.
So close. That's not nearly enough to have the effect, but you can see how eLevate is having such a strong opening here. They set up just in time for the trees to cover the approach. Simple Tankers tanks are caught out, and they're opened up on first. They don't have the chance to begin an engagement on even footing. It's an ambush.
Very low, but so's G-Forcer. He's looking for an opening, and Static is still on the reload, and once he is, he knows he can move further to the south. Serenity 17 takes down Tofu Smurf. And all tanks still left alive for eLevate here. 3 down for Simple Tankers.
Yeah, Servios and Zone Delta are in a very dangerous position as well, but I think they can take the hits as they're cutting off the tanks in the south. And just in time for Pub Whisperer to go down. Servios keeps the north at bay with Zakum and Kraft Lawrence.
Wallhack's trying to stay alive against Static. Static has one shot left. Wallhack's on the reload.
Surprise Urtai.
Static looking for it, and surprise Urtai! Wallhack's is gone.
I saw that one coming. I didn't even have to look at his reload. You know that Artie sense? You know Artie's aiming at you? I think he felt it right there before the weird glow of the death cam hit.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's called. Like that weird, the glossiness.
Death mode? Death cam?
Yeah, death cam.
Death cam.
Death cam. That's exactly. I always turned it off because I wanted to continue watching normally, and everything in grayscale is even harder to.
2 tanks remain against 5 for eLevate. Zakum and Kraft Lawrence, this tag team that did well last time. Last bastion here on steps. Kraft Lawrence hit for 142. And the slow, methodical push in coming from eLevate. There goes Kraft.
Did Urtai fire? No. Yeah, he did. I think he missed Zakum barely.
Zakum, is able to catch Zagarman on fire and gets a kill.
He leaking.
And he'll turn towards Static, waiting for the reload. He sees it, he wants it, he needs it, he gets it. Zakum with 2 kills.
Everyone's on fire today. Have you noticed the amount of tanks that have caught fire?
Yeah.
It's something about today is a little
significant amount. Servios takes down Zakum. eLevate stays in the fight, putting another point on the board, and they are down 2-4.
So
against Simple Tankers, and they switch now.
Yes, there's one thing I think a trend that Simple Tankers has always had. They've started matches very, very well, but where they lose is off.
Something happens. Yeah.
Something always happens. They lose that momentum. Their opponent comes back. Think back to any of the previous matches they have. Something just doesn't work out right. I don't know. It's hard to put a pin in it because there's so many different reasons each time, but this could be that Simple Tankers curse where they put up an amazing match, blowing their opponent away. But now eLevate, given the opportunity to think on their opponent's style a little bit more and the way they're going to act, I think that they're predicting Simple Tankers now. And Simple Tankers is not able to predict eLevate's attacks.
That's a very good point. The move to the south that was led by Tofu Smurf and the rest of his team, at least at the beginning, it's kind of that mentality of get towards Urtai, get towards that fight, and it seemed like it was going to work at first, but then Executus was taking so much damage, and then after that, it started to fall apart in that sense.
It's knowing that this is an answer, but not recognizing that your opponent does have an opening strategy which trumps it, and failing to think about that, or taking a safer route to get there, or maybe approaching somehow differently to deal with the Artie.
Okay.
It's difficult because you don't have enough tanks to just throw all around the map.
Well, and it was a little bit different too because they were on the defensive side.
Yes.
So
yes.
Maybe they watched that match with Simp and going, well, shoot. I mean, we really don't want to stay in one place here. It's just a little bit overzealous to try to chase down the Artie, and they were punished for it, kind of falling into eLevate's hands. But they still lead 4-2 into battle number 7 on steps. What do we have for tanks, Randall?
All right, looks like we've got a T32, T69 combo with the 1390 RU and T54. So the 3 different kinds of lights that you got at tier 8, and then of course the 2 M41s to finish it out. And Urtai's going to be in a Bulldog this time, so I think eLevate doesn't feel like they want to rely too much on Artie for much longer, knowing that Simple Tankers will eventually figure out how to counter it.
Quick update. Full Potato currently 4-0 over Fun Gaming.
Wow.
We'll continue to update if that match concludes before this one.
I feel like I don't know if I'm the worst at predicting this season, or if just everything really is that crazy.
No, I think our predictions at the beginning of the season of getting a feel for teams was very accurate. But because of the journey, the improvements, and other outlying factors such as roster issues, changes, it has really created a season that could go anywhere. And this, I think, has been the season where you've seen the biggest kind of ups and downs because every team is playing every other team as well with the changes and the change by 754.
Fair enough. We're seeing a lot of things we haven't seen before. We haven't had the experience or depth of knowledge to be able to predict that accurately.
We should have predicted more. There would be a lot more changes to these teams' performance rather than, well, I think a lot of them stay the
should
same.
we have predicted that we should have expected the unexpected unexpectedly?
Oh man, that's deep. Shot hit on unknown one. But no real action happening here. As
Maybe there
Angry
will
White
be.
Guy is close to the flag cap, but does not pull the trigger.
Wallhacks is safe. Servios decides not to shoot at him more, and I don't know why. I think he just backs down, so Delta comes to join him. Simple Tankers is going to start with a shift, I think, to the west, then possibly north. I'm guessing No Man's Road. Where
So guess, I mean, Jay Smooth is dancing around that section.
it makes a lot of sense with Angry White Guy already being in the north. You have that part of the map cleared.
Urtai hit for 155.
But now that eLevate is pulling back, you could see a press from the south from Simple Tankers. That could accomplish something, especially if they can get these sniped shots up north where Zagarmin and Urtai are. They're very exposed, no cover, and the positions to the far south are nice, clean shots into that location on the map. So like Urtai, for example, being very exposed.
Yes.
And what is that, Unknown One, Executus, and Tofu, are they still going to try and
Well,
get shots on him?
no, they've pulled away from any type of possible fire, possible line of sight against them.
They're looking kind of east, telling me that maybe they think...
They're looking kind of south. And now they're looking east, and now Tofu Source are looking towards the north. But they had disengaged for a bit.
They're all on low grounds, though. None of them are sitting on the high ground trying to get the vision or be aggressive and
True.
posture up like that. They're all hanging back because I think Simple Tankers is still thinking about what they want to do. That's really what it is. They've got a trap set up.
Oh, Zagarmin. He's seen, he's hit, he's tracked, he can't move, he's dead.
That trap. That's an age-old trap.
Yep.
You know the scout's coming down that line. There's no safe escape. So if someone were to move down the the 0 line on the approach to where pub and wall hacks are, they can stay hidden and camoed up and spot this light tank as soon as he gets into an unsafe zone, which is important. If the scout were spotted before then, he'd get spooked and he'd run away. But because that's not the case, unfortunately, Zagarmin doesn't have the opportunity to have those indicators. It relies entirely on his ability to predict Simple Tankers' moves. And, well, in this case, Simple Tankers is a step ahead of him. Although, look at this press. Angry White Guy and J-Smooth moving in from the west, while everyone else comes up from the south. Which will turn, I think, into just a west side press from north stretching all the way down to the south.
Yeah, that north side's going to find Urtai real fast. As Tofu Smurf, an Unknown One, reveal themselves a little bit here. Angry White Guy is hit again, twice, 311 in that volley. Urtai trying to get behind those rocks to make Angry White Guy suffer for chasing him. And now J-Smooth is taking too much damage chasing one tank. You got to pull back when you don't have a clear
the
shot.
support fire is very appropriate. It was
Yep.
a good job by eLevate. They will trade out J-Smooth for Urtai. And here comes the rest of the press. Angry White Guy is going to be left out of the fight, but Wallhacks is going so low in his 1390, and he will go down to Servios, being a little bit too far in too soon. Pub Whisperer taking a lot of damage as well as he's in the high ground, but they will take down Serenity first. Now Servios, it looks like, as they'll jump onto him. Unknown One, Executus, Pub Whisperer in the high ground.
Trying to pull back, but Pub Whisperer is in a beautiful position to continue to punish any movement from eLevate. Simple Tankers now leads with 5 tanks against 3. Static gets hit for 315. Unknown One then falls. Pub Whisperer's on the reload, hiding behind the rocks. Tofu Source is going to have to distract them as Angry White Guy is pulling towards the north on the reload as well.
And now Zone Delta goes wide, which might end up working against him, especially if we can see Executus get back into this fight momentarily.
The Tofu is just trying to stall them as long as he can to do as much damage as he can to leave these tanks one shot away from being destroyed. And Pub Whisper and Executus will be reloaded about the same time. Zone Delta sees Executus, but Executus shuts him down. 2 tanks remain for eLevate. Static from long range is getting lit up. Angry White Guy wants one more shot, and he gets it. G-Forcer, the last tank, again, left alive for eLevate, up against 3 of Simple Tankers. He gets hit twice, 536 in that volley. Executus and Pub Whisper ready to line up and shut down. G-Forcer, Executus 2 shots away, moves in on the surround, one more shot, and G-Forcer does go down. Executus with the execution gets it, and Simple Tankers takes the series 5-2. And also a quick update, Full Potato 5-0 over Fun Gaming.
What? Really?
Really?
Fun
That's,
Gaming. Okay, I'm going to have to review this one because there's no reason that Fun Gaming shouldn't be able to at least put the series at some kind of like a 3-5, maybe a 2-5 at worst. That's crazy. Full potato.
We'll have to cover that on Tuesday when we return. But that was a great series coming from Simple Tinkers. eLevate showed some great adaptation on when Simple Tinkers was overreaching a bit, and it was good to see. But Simple Tinkers looked very devastating this series.
They did. They looked much better. I think they understood their opponent more than their opponent understood them. They did make mistakes. There were times when they failed to really figure out what eLevate was doing, or eLevate did a better job at doing just the same.
Yeah.
And I think that game was won many of the battles before we even saw any shots fired. It was all about the lineups and the tanks. Then when it came to the strategy, yes, that depended on execution, but I think this one was judged a lot by those lineups and the way they executed with them.
I am thoroughly impressed after tonight's matches, Randall, of how much improvement we're seeing. I mean, these teams have always been great, right? They've always been the top teams in North America. All 16 of them deserve to be here. But the improvements based on the changes of what's happened in 7x54, the different tank lineups, the tier 7s and tier 6s that are being brought, tonight was a great measurement of how well these teams are doing, and hopefully they'll continue to improve, not just for North America, but for the world.
Yeah, I really think this is the best week yet. Everyone is showing that they're achieving higher and higher as time goes on and understanding the deep tactical and strategic options at their fingertips.
Let's take a quick recap. Take a look at a quick recap of what happened tonight. RBIS lost a timed out in a tiebreaker 5-4. Timed out got their another victory tonight. Simp 5-0 against the Cunninghams. Roulette lost to eLevate 2-5, and eLevate lost to Simple Tinkers 2-5. And also to take a look at those matches that were happening off stream as soon as we get those loaded. Top tier 5-1 against Penguin Mafia. Hammer Time a loss against Noble 5-1. Victoria's Secret loss against Simply Irresistible 3-5. And 5-0 for Full Potato against Fun Gaming. I think that's the most surprising out of those non-broadcasted matches.
I feel like some of these teams, based off of what I understand of them, like the numbers should be slightly different, but every single week these guys make gains that throw that off just a little ways. And so all of these matchups continue to be a surprise. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to have to head over to the Fantasy WGL site in order to check out some of those replays and break this all down.
Yeah, and I want to take a look at the standings too as soon as they're ready to see exactly where these teams stand right now. And here we go. Simp is still number 1 with 31 points, followed by the Cunninghams, who's trailing by 8 points in second place. Hammer Time's going to round out the top 3. And
actually, they're tied now.
They are
the Cunninghams.
tied. They are tied for second place, excuse me. But then rounding out, I guess, the top 4 then would be Full Potato.
Yes, and of course, eLevate tied with eLevate, tied with Simple Tinkers, tied with Simply Irresistible right now with 18 points. And then you have the two-way tie of Fun Gaming and Arbis.
Top tier follows them with 14 points, followed by Noble, then Roulette.
Who still have many games to play.
They do. So and along with the other teams that they have to face as well. So we'll see some changes after this weekend that we'll tell you guys about on Tuesday. Rounding out the bottom, timed out Victoria's Secret, and then Penguin Mafia. Timed out, now above Victoria's Secret and Penguin Mafia. They still may have to face relegation based on the rest of the results, but not a straight out kick out of the league.
I mean, if things keep going like this,
yeah,
they're climbing very fast.
Not to get ahead of ourselves, what an incredible story that would be.
Oh, that would be getting ahead of ourselves right now. You're right. That would be dreaming.
Yeah. We'll take a look at what's going to happen on Tuesday night with the match schedule for our different teams. It's going to be Fun Gaming versus Timed Out. They're getting a lot more spotlight happening after that victory against Simp, and it's well-deserved. RBIS versus the Cunninghams, followed by eLevate versus Simply Irresistible, and Simp versus eLevate.
eLevate Simply Irresistible. After fighting Simple Tankers this week, they have to go against Simply Irresistible?
Yeah.
Come on.
This is all going to lead up to our finals in San Francisco happening March 15th at the Folsom Street Foundry in downtown San Fran. Beautiful location. We hosted our Season 3 finals there. You definitely want to put it on the calendar and make it out. We'll give you more information as we get closer, but it's going to be fun, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have some goodies for people as well.
Oh, of course. I hope we give out umbrellas. Those are very useful in San Francisco.
Yes, your hat got ruined.
It was. I decided to wear a wool hat, and it didn't stand up to something.
Well,
Rip.
Rain to me is part of life because I grew up near Seattle, so I always
I
love
also
rain.
did not grow up in LA where it rains. Water falls from the sky in places.
In some
On a
places.
regular basis.
Once every 3 months. Any final words tonight, Randall?
No, this was fun.
This
I'm glad you guys
was a
enjoyed
great
it.
night. It's one of the best nights of Tanks, I have to say. Really was.
It really was. I'm loving this. I'm just so satisfied. I'm not like exuberant. I'm just yes.
That was great. It really was. And on behalf of everybody here at the WGLNA, thanks for watching. We'll be back live at 4:45 with our pregame show and the first match at 5 o'clock Pacific time on Tuesday night. Until then, good night and good game.